Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into the K11 standard. And look, if you're a data engineering apprentice, this is absolutely crucial stuff for you. We're going to skip the dry theory and jump straight into a real-world disaster scenario to show you exactly why this all matters so much. All right, let's set the scene. Imagine you're a data engineer at a super popular food delivery app. We'll call it Hungry Now. You're sitting on a goldmine of data, right? Customer addresses, what they order, their payment info, even where drivers are in real time. Then your morning is ruined. You get an alert. There's been a breach. Customer addresses are out in the wild. So what happens now? Well, the fallout is instant and it is brutal. This isn't just some tech issue you can patch up. Nope. You're looking at a massive GDPR breach. That's the General Data Protection Regulation. And the fines can be absolutely eye-watering. We're talking millions. But honestly, even worse than the money, you've completely shattered your customers' trust. And that is so hard to ever get back. The company's reputation is in the gutter, and all those beautiful data-driven metrics everyone loved, yeah, nobody trusts them anymore. Okay, so to stop that nightmare from ever happening, you need a plan, a solid framework. And that's exactly what K11 is. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll look at our recipe for disaster, then introduce K11 as the safety framework. We'll break down its 4 core pillars, check out the toolkit you'll need, and wrap up with how to actually prove you've got these skills. That whole data breach mess, that is precisely the kind of catastrophe the K11 standard exists to prevent. You can think of it as a professional toolkit that helps you shift your mindset from just, reacting to risk to proactively taking responsibility for the data you're in charge of. So what is K11 at its heart? It's the standard that makes sure everything you build as a data engineer has a foundation of trust. It's not just a boring list of rules to check off. It's really a way of thinking, of building a data ecosystem that's secure, ethical, and totally transparent right from the get-go by its very design. And this all boils down into 4 key jobs for you. First, pretty obviously, you've got to keep the data safe from breaches using all the technical tools at your disposal. Second, you have to use ethical judgment, and that means thinking about what's right, not just what's technically legal. Third, you gotta follow your company's own specific rules and policies. And finally, you have to know your data's story, its lineage, where it came from, and every step of its journey. So those 4 responsibilities give us our 4 practical pillars that are gonna guide pretty much everything you do day to day. That's security, ethics, policies, and lineage. Let's make this real and go back to our Hungry Now app. For security, that means you're not just winging it. You're following a formal standard like ISO 27001, making sure data is encrypted everywhere. For ethics, it's about having the awareness to say, hey, just because someone orders halal food, we are not going to infer their religion. Policies are your company's ground rules, like making sure you always hash user IDs for privacy. And lineage? That just means you can trace an order all the way from the moment a customer taps their phone to when it shows up on an analytics dashboard. Okay, knowing the pillars is one thing, but you need the right tools and a clear process to actually make it happen. This is where we get our hands dirty and turn all that theory into practice.
Here's a simple blueprint that works every time. 1. Classify and tag your data. Know what's personally identifiable information, or PII, and what's super sensitive. 2. Lock down access using things like role-based controls. 3. And this is a big one, protect your secrets. Your API keys and passwords go in a key vault, not in your code. 4. Automate your protections. For example, build filters into your ETL jobs that automatically remove users who've withdrawn their consent. And 5. Document everything. Good lineage and metadata are what build trust.
And of course, you're not doing this by hand. You need to know the industry standard tools that make all this possible. For data catalogs, you might be using something like Azure Purview. For secrets, Azure Key Vault is a popular choice. For access control, you're going to live in IAM, that's Identity and Access Management, and use things like row-level security. And for keeping your data quality high, tools like DBT tests or Great Expectations are just fantastic. All right, let's get to the part that really matters for an apprentice. How do you prove you can do all this? Because for your endpoint assessment, your EPA, you can't just say what you did. You've got to show why it was so important. Now this is a great portfolio statement. Why? It's specific. It names the exact technique, row-level security, and it clearly states the business impact, protecting sensitive data so managers only see their own stuff.
It's a perfect demonstration of the principle of least privilege. Chef's kiss.
Here's another really strong one. This tells me you get the bigger picture of data governance. By registering datasets with clear owners, tags, and service level agreements, SLAs, you're not just storing data. You're creating a trusted, discoverable asset that the entire company can rely on. That's huge.
And this final one, this is powerful. This shows you're thinking beyond just the code. You spotted a potential ethical problem, that a model could start inferring sensitive things about people, and you proactively stepped in to prevent it. That right there is K11 in action. It shows real maturity as a data professional. When you put it all together, the difference is just night and day. Without K11, you're living in a world of untrusted numbers, constant ethical risks, and the threat of fines. With K11, you're building trusted data products. You've got auditable lineage, you're secure by design, and you're compliant. It is the difference between chaos and being a true professional. So, this is the question I want to leave you with. Look, anyone can build a data pipeline that works, that just shuffles data from point A to point B. But the real challenge, the mark of a truly great data engineer, is building a pipeline that is trustworthy. K11 isn't just another standard you have to learn. It's the framework that gives you the power and the tools to answer that question with confidence every single time.